Welcome back to Life Lessons in Film.
Hello.
Today we're going to be making sense of life through Shrek. It follows Shrek. He's an ogre living in his swamp. He wakes up one morning to find that all the fairy tale creatures have been pushed into his land. He goes on a quest to make a deal with Lord Farquaad to get the fairy tale creatures away from his land.
Yeah, and the deal is...
he has to save the Princess Fiona, who Farquaad wants to marry. There's a burgeoning romance with Shrek and Fiona.
Well, they end up together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. More compatible. That's the ins and outs of it. There's a lot of messaging there. Not least of which, don't judge an ogre by his onion. You know?
The world does indeed judge
Yes.
people by how they look. How you present will determine whether or not you have a big community, whether or not you have friends, how easy it is to get that job. And the more appealing you look, the more people will soften to you.
Yeah.
The whole point of him getting fairy tale people off his swamp is because he enjoys the solitude. Everybody who meets him is always scared, always has this idea of what kind of person he is.
I'm not the one with the problem, okay? It's the world that seems to have a problem with me. People take one look at me and go, ah, help, run! A big, stupid, ugly ogre. They judge me before they even know me. That's why I'm better off alone.
But maybe he only enjoys the solitude because he's been hurt so many times by people that he has to build walls.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling.
He wants to avoid getting hurt, avoid the rejection.
And that's why he's also grumpy, you know? That's where it's kind of like, sometimes you'll meet people and they're grumpy or they're a certain way and you don't really know anyone's backstory. And so he seems like he doesn't want to have friends, but how the story plays out, you can see that there's a change of heart. And so what that said to me was that actually, no, he didn't really want to be alone. I think sometimes when you get rejected so much by people, which he has.
You want to be the first to reject.
You want to be the first to reject as a defense mechanism because then it doesn't hurt.
And you get conditioned to assume that everyone's going to eventually hurt him. So he's like, well, I'm not going to trust another person.
Exactly.
I've learned my lesson.
When Donkey's following him and he wants to get rid of him, he's like, can't you tell I'm an ogre? I mean, doesn't that matter to you?
I'm an ogre. You know, grab your torch and pitchforks. Doesn't that bother you?
Nope.
Really?
That is a surprise to him because he's never met anyone like this before. Someone who isn't running away from him or thinks he's a horrible person and also is very accepting because Donkey's like, ooh, your breath stinks. He tells him all of these things and yet he still wants to be friends with him. Another theme that I liked is at the end of the day, you'll meet like 80% of the world and it's just not going to click, but there's the 20%. You know, there are people out there that are going to be just right for you. Donkey himself didn't have any friends.
He was also a misfit.
He was also a misfit.
So he could relate.
And so there was that, like, that foundation of, like, we are both misfits.
Fiona, are you all right?
Well, yes. But I don't understand. I'm supposed to be beautiful.
But you are beautiful.
People who really care about you deeply, they can never tell the difference between when you're looking like a hottie McTottie or you're looking crusty.com. You look the same all the time. You're beautiful all the time because it's not about the physical. It's about who you are as an actual person. You can meet someone who has like mainstream appeal in terms of their physical characteristics. And yeah, you can acknowledge that, okay, this person is nice to look at. But then the more you interact with them, if their heart is, you know, a dark, cold heart, in the end, you don't actually really see that beauty that you once saw the first time. And when you meet someone who isn't exactly mainstream beautiful, you interact with them and their heart is just absolutely amazing. You end up loving all of these things about them that you never even noticed before and they just become this beautiful light in your life.
Friends that mind don't matter and the friends that matter don't mind. Another one, gentrification.
Come on, no, not there. Not there. Hey, don't look at me. I didn't invite them.
Oh gosh, no one invited us.
What?
We were forced to come here.
By who?
Lord Farquaad. He huffed and he puffed and he signed an eviction notice.
Gentrification is not the answer. Find a proper place for the fairy tale creatures to live. Don't just push them away so you don't have to look at them, so you can forget that they exist.
Exactly.
You can't just displace people. You don't fix the issue. Still, people got to go somewhere. And also, speaking of fairy tale creatures, how quickly your neighbors will sell you out for a quick florin just because you're deemed a freak.
All right, this one's full. Come on.
Give me that. Fine days are over. That's 20 pieces of silver for the witch.
Next.
Get up. 20 pieces. Come on. Sit down there. Keep quiet.
just so small.
Please don't turn me in. I'll never be stubborn again. I can change. Please give me another chance.
Oh, shut up.
All the people were selling out fairy tale creatures. Yeah. Well, messed up.
They'll get too comfortable.
Yes.
It's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
You're an ogre.
Oh, you were expecting Prince Charming?
Well, yes, actually. Oh, no. This is all wrong. You're not supposed to be an ogre.
Princess, I was sent to rescue you by Lord Farquaad, okay? He's the one who wants to marry you.
Well, then why didn't he come rescue me?
Good question. You should ask him that when we get there.
But I have to be rescued by my true love. Not by some ogre and his pet.
Fiona had this idea from society of how she needed to live her life and how her romance needed to play out, all these things. She had this plan for how everything needed to work out. She wasn't realizing that it's more about compatibility with the partner and not about the fairy tale, idea of it playing out with the Prince Charming and everything.
Don't focus too much on what is supposed to happen and just instead allow life to happen the way it seems to be working out for you and working out for the better. Or at least be open to the idea that whatever map you have carved out for yourself doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen.
Find someone that'll see you as beautiful even if you have a bad sleep and you wake up looking like an ogre.
Are you Princess Fiona?
I am. Awaiting a knight so bold as to rescue me.
Oh, that's nice. Now let's go!
But wait, Sir Knight. This beeth our first meeting. Should it not be a wonderful, romantic moment?
Yeah. Sorry, lady. There's no time.
Wait! What are you doing? You should sweep me off my feet out yonder window and down a rope onto your valiant steed.
She's pushing this thing because there's a narrative about what's supposed to happen in the fairy tale, and she's
like
committed.
She's missing out on something where she'll fail if it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, she'll fail or that it's not right. It's wrong. Then she's not having her fairy tale. That's a problem because a lot of people do that. It's like, oh no, it didn't work out this way. And so that means this is not right. So then you start like looking at all of these holes. That piece of puzzle didn't quite fit according to whatever it is that you had of how this is supposed to play out. And you're focusing so much on that and you're missing out on actually developing real relationships or actually living a life.
Look, Princess, you're not making my job any easier.
Well, I'm sorry, but your job is not my problem. You can tell Lord Farquaad that if he wants to rescue me properly, I'll be waiting for him right here.
She didn't want to leave because she needed things to go a certain way. So you could literally, people do this, stay stuck in a nightmare. I'm in a bad relationship. I'm going to stay in this bad relationship because I have to be in a relationship because society says it has to be this way.
Or it's the kind of relationship that on the surface is what I wanted or what I thought it's supposed to be like. But it's not that in reality, but I'm going to stay there anyway because the image of it is still what I want to portray or what I believe it's supposed to look like. So I'm hoping it'll just fix itself.
Yeah, it has to fit.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Shrek? What? It's a compliment. Better out than in, I always say.
Well, it's no way to behave in front of a princess.
Thanks.
She's as nasty as you are.
You're not exactly what I expected.
Well, maybe you shouldn't judge people before you get to know them.
You develop certain quirks based on what it is that you're exposed to and your own individual unique traits. These determine how you're moving through the world. And so she does have that mutual experience of being an ogre. Even though she doesn't actually live like Shrek, where people know that she's an ogre, she knows how ogres get treated. So she has that sensitivity and she has that sense of being ostracized by the world. She understands it even though she's not actually out there, living it. I think that's just something that only her and Shrek would understand. And I think if you are someone who doesn't fit the mold of what is normal in society, it does make more sense that you would actually fare better with people who are also outside of
Find your tribe. Don't judge anyone by their onions.
When I was a little girl, a witch cast a spell on me. Every night I become this horrible, ugly beast. I was placed in a tower to await the day my true love would rescue me. That's why I have to marry Lord Farquaad tomorrow before the sun sets and he sees me. Like this.
We all have demons.
Yes.
And these demons are tough. They're tough. Society in general has made it so that because they have certain traits, they're going to be more accepted. Fiona looks really pretty. She's a princess. And so for sure, her life is super easy. But you don't realize that at night, her demon is that she turns into an ogre. And she's very well aware of the fact that the world focuses so much on looks, right? Because she can see the difference. She sees how she gets treated with regard to how she looks as a human being. And she knows how people who then look like an ogre gets treated.
Not that bad. You're not that ugly. And where you are, I ain't gonna lie, you are ugly. But you only look like this at night. Shrek's ugly 24/7.
But Donkey, I'm a princess. And this is not how a princess is meant to look.
Who would accept this part of me. And I think we can relate to a lot of these things. Things that you don't necessarily even hate about yourself. Things that you actually like, but you know that maybe they don't exactly fit within normal societal standards. And so you just kind of hold back. And when you're interacting with people, you're just kind of like feeling like you're skating on thin ice a little bit a lot of times because you're like, I don't want that part of my personality to come out.
What if they won't like me if they see me after dark, if they see the whole part of me? I have to only ever show people one part of me, but then you're always hiding. You're always lying.
Yeah, you're always holding back. And that's a lot of work. People that I'd like to be surrounded by understand that there's good and bad parts of us. What I think is bad, someone else might not see it that way. They might actually find it precious. But I think the right people understand that, and they're definitely willing to always accommodate all of you.
You could even look at it as a bit of a metaphor when it comes to her rushing the wedding to get married before nightfall so that, you know, she can stay a human form. As like people feeling that pressure to get married in the way that society deems they should and the way they should look instead of waiting maybe for a more compatible match.
Who could ever love a beast so hideous and ugly? And princess and ugly don't go together. That's why I can't stay here with Shrek. My only chance to live happily ever after is to marry my true love. Don't you see, Donkey? That's just how it has to be.
In the grand scheme of things, I feel like being human is going to be easier. So obviously that's the thing that she's wanting all the time.
She knows it's harder in the world to be an ogre.
Yeah.
So let's best try and make it so that I don't have to be.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think like passing.
Passing as a human.
Passing as a human, exactly. Yeah. So she's doing that because she is part human, part ogre. But she's like, you know what?
She treated Shrek better when she thought he was a human.
Historically, we know people who've passed. And if you could pass, you pass. Because it's much easier, isn't it? So I can't really say that I would fault anyone for doing that. It's just part of life. And I feel like that's what it kind of reminded me of here. It's like, what do I want? The hard life or the easy life? I'm pretty. I'm human. It's easier. In this world that I'm living in, that's much easier than the alternative. I want this.
The easier path.
The easier path. Yeah.
Well, yes, I was talking to you. Can I just tell you that you was really great back then, man? Those guards, they thought they was all of that. Then you showed up and bam, they was tripping over themselves like babes in the woods. See that? That really made me feel good to see that.
Oh, that's great. Really?
Man, it's good to be free.
Now, why don't you go celebrate your freedom with your own friends?
But, I don't have any friends. And I'm not going out there by myself. Hey, wait a minute, I got a great idea. I'll stick with you.
If you're pursuing friendships as an adult, that's really tough, you know? You have a stronger sense of yourself than you did as a kid. There are just a lot of things that make it challenging, right? And so you end up feeling like, my God, are there actually people out there that I can connect with?
You just give up and you're just like, I'm better off alone.
Or you just kind of hang around people that you feel like, well, I'm just going to hang around with you because I don't want to be lonely. Moral of the story is hang in there.
However you are, there are others like you.
Yeah. There is no clear path as to how to find those people. Everything that happened, none of these people actually went out of their way. And so it's just really living and understanding that like there's not really a lot you can do about it, but maybe just kind of like put yourself out there ultimately. Because for Shrek to meet Fiona, he actually went out into society instead of being isolated. As much as there isn't a clear path, I would say the one thing is just don't be staying at home. You have to go out there and do things.
It's like you'll never hit any of the balls you don't swing at, or I can't remember what the saying is, but keep going out, you persevere, you'll eventually bump into someone.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Don't regret being forced out of your comfort zone, because maybe it's the best thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, with you, it's always me, me, me. Well, guess what? Now it's my turn, so you just shut up and pay attention. You are mean to me, you insult me, and you don't appreciate anything that I do. You always push me around or pushing me away.
Oh, yeah? Well, if I treated you so bad, how come you came back?
Because that's what friends do. They forgive each other.
I feel like you got to be careful with these things just because the label friendship is not enough. Just because you guys are friends, if the person the whole time has been treating you like crap, you leave.
Yeah.
You don't forgive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think in this case, Donkey knew that deep down Shrek was a good person. You just needed. But sometimes you can believe that you just need to get to that core of the person, and the core of the person is actually different from what you believe the core of the person is. In this case, it worked out for Donkey, but he could have been spending a lot of time trying to warm Shrek up to him, and it would never have worked.
Exactly.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, but forgiveness is good. And also I think that's the whole thing with friendship. The great thing about being friends and knowing that you're friends and really genuinely being comfortable around each other is that, you can fight. Fighting is okay. We're going to get over it. And fighting doesn't mean you hate me. It's okay for you to be upset with me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Is this something that we have to work?
Yeah.
Is this something we have to work through? Like if you made a commitment to be friends with someone, you make that happen. You work through the hard things and you allow both of you to be angry at each other and you allow both of you to be human and make mistakes. Because sometimes people are out here expecting you to be a saint and a martyr all the time. And that is absolutely unfair. And I think Donkey is wonderful for this because he really just doesn't with Shrek. He's actually quite able to see who Shrek is despite the fact that he's doing all of these things.
But he also calls him out.
And he also calls him out. I like that. Yeah. You are not treating me well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won't stand for it.
There is that element of also needing to respect yourself too.
That's it. That's some thoughts we had about Shrek. But what did you guys think? If you've seen it, let us know in the comments down below. Please share your thoughts on our thoughts. Until next time, thanks for watching. That's a wrap. Peace.
Bye.
What a lovely bed. Gotcha! I found some cheese.